Okay, we're in the Thelema Vineyards right now. We're in a block of Shiraz here. What's different about Thelema, viticultural-wise, I think the big trick is we keep intricate records of our vineyards. We know exactly what's going on in the soils. We know exactly what's going on in the canopy itself. You may notice that these vines are all trellised, so we are roughly 50 hectares of vineyards on this property, all trellised. And trellising is a relatively new system as opposed to your bush vines, which were used widely in an era when trellis systems didn't exist. The industry hadn't even thought of that. So, and it's also very labor intensive, low production. So we typically work with a vertical hedge system, as you can see behind me here. The trick to a good canopy like this is sunlight penetration. So sunlight in your vineyard itself is extremely important. It leads to just general vine health. That creates fertility in your buds. So without good canopy and light penetration into your canopy, you're not going to have success in producing wine. Maybe one point I can touch on in our viticulture and our vineyard management is we use some technology. We monitor the soil quite intensively, the soil moisture content. We use a little device known as a pressure bomb. So we actually measure how hard the leaf is pulling to get nutrients to it. So we can figure out how much pressure is being exerted by the leaf canopy to pull water out of the soil. So that's one thing we measure. Another thing is NDVI photography. So we have aerial photographs of our whole property. Each vineyard has a very neat photograph taken, and within that vineyard we map regions of varying vigor. So areas generally on the bottom of a slope where there's more water, you have a very green lush strip, and that's often a lot greener. The fruit is less ripe than higher up on the slope. So using this NDVI photography, the moisture status of the soil, so we have a map, we know exactly which areas within a vineyard are what ripeness levels, and then we've gone to a point where we physically plant poles with flags in a vineyard, and we map off regions of similar or ripeness levels, and we harvest that accordingly. And by doing that kind of detail in your vineyard, it allows you to fine-tune your quality. You manage to pick up your pockets of excellence, if you want to call it that, within a vineyard, and then you can allocate those portions of fruit to your best barrels, and it pays off because ultimately your top wine is identified in the vineyard already. So that's just one little item we use, or one kind of piece of technology. We have drones flying maybe every 3-4 years, just to within a vineyard also identify areas where you possibly may have a virus or nutrition. So within a vineyard, if you have deficit in nutrition in a certain area from high up above, you clearly see it where the whole section of a vineyard is either going yellow, or it's just the vigor is dropping off, and the growth is just very poor. So those are just two kind of types of technology we use to fine-tune our production.